Okay, looks like people are filing in, so we will wait just another minute and then we will get started because we don't want to lose any time with Dylan here today. So we're going to just welcome you today back to part two of our webinar series with Nerchat about Glint. We're super excited to have Dylan here with us. Dylan, if you want to move it to the next slide for me, that would be amazing. So we're here again for an hour, and we're super excited that you're all joining us today. All right, next slide, please. Just a little reminder of our open access accessibility. Whoa, not that far. Our open access accessibility promise. Just remember that we have simple backgrounds with high contrast text. We have access to digital materials. I'm sure Dylan would have print materials to provide if you needed something in writing that you could print out. You can access our slide deck and all of our resources with a QR code as well as a tiny URL. So we have those available as well. If there are images, we've done our best to provide alt text to go with them. And you will see we will have many opportunities and options for participation and feedback. Just quickly, another just open access, what we're about. We are one of the statewide special education resource leads within the statewide system of support. And actually, Dylan, if you go back one slide, we do have a one-page document backwards. You're going forwards. Backwards. There we go. That if you want to one more. Yes, there we are. Okay, if you are interested in finding out more about what we offer as a project, you can access that one pager, and it will give you some information about open access on the whole. So, all right. So again, moving now, we're going forward to the next slide. Just so you have all the resources for today's session. You will see that there is a home-based document in the chat that you can access that's going to have all of the links you'll need. You have the link there to get to the Glint website, and I'm sure Dylan will be sharing a few other things with you as we go through today. If you missed session one, you can access the video recording on our open access website. So, and that's also going to be a direct link in the home base document. So if you did miss it, you can absolutely go back and watch session one. All right, so again, we'll reintroduce ourselves on the next slide. I am Jennifer Wright, and I am the AAC content lead for Open Access. I'm joined by my two other content leads, Mimi Zimlick and Emily Desjardins, who's in the background there. She is. And then I wanted to just, again, welcome and thank Dylan McConney for being here to really share in this amazing tool that he is one of the founders of with Scott, who's also here. I saw Scott pop in as well. So Scott, make sure give him a shout out as well. So thank you all for being here today. All right, we're going to start, as we do all of our sessions, with an inclusive welcome. So on the next slide, we're going to tell you what that one is today. An inclusive welcome is not something we just pulled out of the sky. It's actually a signature practice from CASEL, which is the Collaborative for Academic, Social, and Emotional Learning. And there's a lot of different ways to do this practice, but we try to typically find things that are fun and are going to connect us really quickly. So the one that we have for today is all about summer. I love this. Summer is loading. We know that it's just around the corner, and we're all getting a little bit of a teaser with Monday that we all have off. But before we jump into all of our stuff today. Let's just do a quick check-in together. So if you guys wouldn't mind putting into the chat, um, your name, your location, and what your role is, and then add what is your level summer loading? Like, how is it, or what is your level of summer loading? So go ahead and put that into the chat, and you will see the definitions for what you want to put in there. I'm fine if you put the color or if you give us a percentage, but let's see how we are all doing this afternoon. Oh, the first two in there are 75s. Let's go. Getting close. Okay, there's got to be more of you. There we go. Oh no. Oh no, we got some 25s. 50. All right. Some 75.5. Heidi, I love it. Oh my gosh. Kate, you're at 50. Awesome. Oh no, Celeste, 25. Okay, hopefully after this weekend you'll feel more like 75. All right. Thank you all for putting that in there. Keep adding them if you want. I'm sure people would love to see, but I would really like to turn this over to Dylan so that we can get this party started. So, Dylan, take it away.
Awesome. Thanks, Jen and Mimi. Great to see everyone. Super excited to be back here for part two. So if you're just joining us for the first time, welcome. If you're coming back, I'm super excited for this part two right now. So I'm Dylan. I'm one of the co-founders of Nerchat. We make Glint. Story is, which I explained last time, was I started with one of my closest friends out in Nashville, Tennessee, who was using a device to communicate. And, inspired by his experience and my time with him, started to work in his schools and felt that visual supports needed a bit of an upgrade. So we spent time, hours and hours on Sundays making visuals from hand manually and paying out of pocket. And we decided to make the system a lot easier. So that's where Glint got started. And I'm personally on a 75%. I think also 75.5. I'm feeling like I'm almost there, but we got one more day. Tomorrow, thankfully, is going to be good, and we'll be up and running for the holiday weekend. So welcome to Glint Visual Supports and our part two. So this is going to be a more in-depth session. We'll kind of go over some of the things we spoke about last time. I'm going to open it up more for questions. We're very lucky today. We have Scott Soifer here, my co-founder, who is arguably one of the most gifted tech people you'll ever meet, and former Google engineer who has designed much, if not all, of what you're going to see today. So this is the person who really knows the ins and outs of Glint. And, it's not often we get Google level talent here in the AT space. So we're very lucky to have him. And I'm just like excited to, I might pick on him and ask him to recommend certain directions to go in and show today, because he does see a lot of really interesting use cases. You might know Scott if you have made a support request. He's the one that usually emails you. And sometimes within the hour, he'll call you. If something is really wrong, he gets on the phone with you, as will our entire tech team. So if you've been lucky enough to have a call with Scott, you know what I mean.
You, Dylan. Thank you.
Awesome. So just heard the story again. This is where it all started, Nashville, Tennessee. This is where we saw some issues. This is us building something better, and we're going to jump over ahead to becoming a visual superhero in minutes. So again, the three takeaways, which I really wanted to reinforce and emphasize. As you've seen before, anyone can make things with Glint. The accessibility we spoke about last time, which we'll dive deeper in, languages, QR code sharing, link sharing in the app. And then lastly, the support, which you've already gotten a taste for a little bit today. So as a reminder, we do have our open access link. If you want to follow along, make an account to get the free premium version for a good amount of time. Give this a scan or go to the link below. This is courtesy for open access. We're giving everyone some free access. Text it to a friend, share it with anyone. Hopefully they're here to use it. It's a good opportunity to really get in, see if it's a good fit for you, and make sure this is something that is usable with some of the learners in your practice. So I'll give everyone like 30 more seconds, go in here, have some time to check things out. I did see a question earlier about, hey, how do I get Glint? So could answer that. It was from Amanda. I said, hey, I want to know how I can get Glint. I will show a QR code at the end of this that brings you to our contact page. And I did mention this before too. Our entire team, speech pathologists, special educators, or parents of learners who receive special services. So you'll speak to one of us on the calendar, or you can email us directly, which is also on that page. Okay, so interactive demo time. Let's jump over to Glint. I'm going to start off. Let me do a little bit of crowd work over here. I want to get some reactions. If you're joining us again from the last session, what was your biggest takeaway? What's something you were very excited about? And then if you want, ask any questions or specific topics that you want me to touch on or go through. If not, I do have a lot of things planned for us to kind of get into and talk more about. But if there are specific topics, I want to make sure we address things. Cool. Rihanna says speech on touch. Yes, we love that. Everything on Glint has that speech to text. Speech on touch, yep. Love the ability to share grid easily with the voice app. Yeah, Julianne, exactly. Set translations, sending the boards to anyone and it just works. Yeah. Has anyone sent a Glint to somebody and they were like, what is this? Or this is really cool? Has anyone had that wow moment yet? Sent to my pre-SCP teachers. Sending boards to the AAC device is cool. We'll talk about that. I love that. It's a good topic. Okay. Differences between communication systems versus Glint. Let's talk about that. I like this interface between AAC and Glint, how to think about it, how we see that being used. That's a great topic. Any other topics? Maybe it's on a specific visual. Maybe it's like, even if it's something that you wish you could see next on Glint, maybe it's something not part of our system yet, but you're like, wait, what if Glint could do this? Put it in the chat. I love talking about this. We nerd out about visual supports completely. So like anything you want to talk about, we're game. All right. So I like that we got some good talking points right now. Sounds like AAC and thinking about this like communication systems versus Glint and like how to conceptualize that is a good topic. So how about we start off with that? I'm going to just like do our quick, let's make a Glint, let's edit it, let's share it again, just so everyone like gets the gist one more time, and then we'll get into the minutia and everything. So I will go ahead, orient you again to our homepage. All of our templates are floating at the top. We start the Glint box at the bottom, and we're like, hey, let's go see the whole array, right? We'll click on select a template, and we see our three categories: the classics, activities, and devices. Classics have our highest yield speech pathology and special ed templates, grids, social stories, task analysis, flipbooks and schedules, checklists, right? The whole gambit. What people are emailing us for months on months. Hey, I make this manually. Could you please get it done for us? So we listened and built that out. We'll do some cool examples today when we get really fun. I'll give everyone a gift that you can send to families or even a loved one at home. I got a nice little gift for you. Coming. One of the templates we're gonna make. Second thing, activities. Today, I'm gonna talk a little bit about what's called Glint Canvas, which we did not reveal last time, but I wanna show this to the group and get some more views on that. If anyone has interest in the alternative pencil, we could also have a little segment on Switch and eye gaze accessibility if that's of interest. So just drop that in the chat. So we're talking a bit about activities over here, dice, spinners, and then the devices, right? Talking about those mid-text, the go-talks we know and love. Nice, alternative pencils. Jennifer, I got you. We're talking about the Talkitos, the Quick Talkers, and more. Okay. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to make a simple grid this time because we have this thought about AAC. So I want to talk a bit about this and we'll discuss together. I'm selecting the simple grid over here. So remember our three options. Option number one, grid size. Let's decide. Maybe I'll go with the 3x3. This simple grid is designed to be a fringe communication board if we don't specify otherwise. If we do ask for core words, it will bring it for us. If we do ask for phrases, it'll bring it for us. But by default, when we give it a topic, it's going to pull fringe. 3x3. Languages, I saw. Who said the languages? That was so cool. Oh, yeah. I think we had the Ukrainian, right? That was what we did last time with the group, which I
We
enjoyed.
read Polish.
Polish. Yes. That was a fun example. We did the Polish together. We got some nice verification about the Polish. So thank you again for, for chiming into us. So remember, over 50 languages. If there's a language you do not see here, just drop it in the chat or put it in the help button on the top right. But we got a ton of languages. Today, we could do. I feel like I'm feeling another language today. I'm feeling Korean. Does anyone have another option? If you have one, just shout it out, put it in the chat. But I'm feeling Korean. And then lastly, we have the word complexity. Just remember our levels here really maps out to like the lexicon reading level. Not as relevant for the simple grids, but definitely something we can configure. Arabic. Okay, let's do Arabic. Thanks, Brianna. And then we're ready to go. So I just wanted to highlight some of the prompting that goes into this. When you're doing a grid, you have the option, if you know exactly what you want, write them out separated by commas. So I can be like food, grass, bus, ... If I did that, it would pull all the words we want into the grid in just a second. It's that easy. Or we can go generalist with some sort of topic. So wondering, did people have sunny days today or was it, I wonder how it was here in New York. It was a bit rainy, but I'm trying to manifest a sunny day. So I'm going to type in like summer, sunny day. 90 in Cali. Wow. Let's channel our inner Californias together. Let's type in summer, sunny day. Include, it's getting real warm. Love it. Are there any words we want to include today? I'm going to let Glint do the rest of the picking for me. But if I wanted to, I can say include core words like, and then blank, blank, blank. It would pull things in. Today, I'm just going to ask for it. We'll pull this stuff in. We'll see my Glint board in just a couple seconds. And like we reflected on last time, that real aha moment of like, wait, this would take me such a long time if I were doing this alone. Wow, I'm so glad I let Glint choose for me because I did not want to. These are great. Ice cream, water, cap. These are things I definitely need. So came out nice. As who pointed this out earlier, as Brianna pointed out earlier, speech on touch, right? When we click on anything,
سما زرقا.
you can get that voice output like we want. As a reminder, we can change it always. Clicking on speech, we can go to English, we can go to the second language or both.
مي.
Water.
From business perspective, the other day, this Florida district just signed on for 3 times the amount of Glint licenses for their ELL department, which is like crazy to me. So I was like, wow. ELL, ENL is a real thing for us, and we start seeing it more and more often. So that part is exciting. We spoke a little bit about the voice picking options right over here. Different types of voices for English, in our second languages, and accents and speeds. Now, I realized that another good thing to kind of show is like when you make this thing for the first time and you want to edit it not manually, go straight to Glint Flow. So we changed this button to say start flowing instead of popping up that guide because a lot of people were confused. So let's start flowing. I want to do some cool prompts today. I think Glint Flow might be the most underutilized feature of Glint. The reason I say this is because it's so powerful and I don't feel like people use it enough. And I want people to feel comfortable like getting in there and having that creative freedom of using things. Oh, Brianna, that's awesome. I love the bilingual aspect. Yeah, talking about learning English at school and speaking native languages at the home. It's so important. Like, yeah, If anyone wants to chime in and has some personal stories on that working out or the importance of that, feel free to chime in for sure. But I know I come from a household that speaks Farsi at home, so can attest to that. Coming home and hearing different languages is always a novel experience. And when you're in the schools, having that sensitivity to that is really meaningful. So I wanted to talk a bit about flow. So yeah, we do have this prompting guide. We put together a little prompting guide talking about things that you can say. So I did talk about this before. Changing content, we're really good at. Moving things around, I think you can do that more manually yourself. Speech and language support is a very hot topic now, with especially the glints that have sentences, so sentence strips and social stories. We tend to see a lot of cool prompts when people are working on speech sounds, like adding words with medial L's in each sentence, or like that sort of thing. Fantastic. I highly recommend getting down and dirty and playing with those sorts of prompts. We also mentioned simplifying languages, making more complex. That tends to be a very popular example. One thing I really like that people have been, and I will say, even though we made Glint, our users, like SLPs and teachers, teach us about Glint. I'll tell you what I learned recently. Some people are going into Glint and asking for phrases. Like I can say, add a row about phrases to use here. Some people are going in here and saying, I want like common phrases. This happened with Wicked. Anyone knows Wicked? Like someone was making a board on Wicked and they went in and said, I want a Glint board, but I want phrases specifically for Wicked. And Glint can actually go in and add those sorts of phrases that we might want, right? Let's play. It's hot, right? Like it's kind of cool that you can ask for those things that are not restricted to just single words. So I really liked learning about that from some of our users. So yes, as a reminder, you can always undo, go back, super fun. And then we spoke about how do you use Glint? Visually, on your computer, on your iPad. We had that present mode piece that we were doing earlier. Having this on an iPad or a board in front of a class. And then our trusted and reliable printing. Downloading, printing, copy, pasting with the worksheet layouts. Right over here. Adding titles, adding instructions. And then everyone's favorite, the Glint Anywhere. Being able to add those QR codes and allowing people to scan them, use them, bring them out with them. One of the most favorite things. And then we mentioned you can also share things with these links, much the same, and the Glint app. And the main benefit being taking them offline and organizing in folders. So since we're at this advanced point, this is a good opportunity for me to go through a lot of the options that are here that we glossed over before. So let me talk to you about some of the other options on advanced sharing. This is a very cool topic. So we kind of went over Glint Anywhere a lot, so I feel good about that. Now looking over here, we have a blank boards option. Sometimes you might want to work on a sample where you have a blank board. So a good thing that you could do is click on this, and when you go ahead and print it, it prints both the blank skeleton and the actual board. This is very handy as you're relating to activities that you might want to print out in Velcro. Every template has this blank board option. Something you may not have noticed earlier, you could add a Glint Anywhere QR code to a printout. So if I printed out this board, I could put this up somewhere and it comes with the Glint Anywhere QR code at the bottom right. So imagine you print out a social story and I send it home. It has the QR code that you can send and give to them. Also super handy. Oh, nice. Jordan says, I feel like I saw a video where a teacher was doing a book like Brown Bear. All the activities in one question. Yeah. Is that accurate? You have to generate each activity separately. So right now, that is something that you can do internally. The closest thing we have to that is going to be the flipbook, which we'll do an example of in a sec. I will let Scott chime in on talking a bit about could you go from one prompt to more? I'll show you. There is a way to do that. There's a way to do it. and there's a workaround, but we're going to have a way that's going to come out pretty soon to make that even easier. So thank you for bringing that up. I'm going to bring that up right after. So that is a Glint Anywhere. Can you make a bigger grid than 7x7? Currently for the accounts, no, but if you wanted to, yes. Like technically it's possible. When you ask Glint Flow to make it a larger grid, it will do it. Just know that it's funny as it relates to the sizing of your screen. Like if you have a screen like mine, that's just a normal laptop, it's just not going to look as pretty because everything mushes together. But yes, you can technically make larger grids. Rudy asks, can the QR codes work on Wi-Fi or cell service only? QR codes can work on anything with internet access, so you are good to go. The main advantage of having the app is that you could take them offline. The QR codes will work digitally anywhere, iPhone, Android, anything. Even when you edit something and refresh it, the QR codes will auto-update. Awesome. Okay, so I want to, let's say, quick thing for printing, because I know this is going to be a cool topic. There is an advanced printing on the simple grids. If you click on this, this is some cool printing options that allow you to do things like square corners, no gaps for cutting easily, changing the size of these. So if you really want to get into it, there's a lot you can do here. Related to that point, if we do want to print many things at once, and you want to select a single image that you make, I can click on this, say, hey, I want a bunch of suns, and print like a bunch of suns. You know what I mean? Oh, that's the font size, number of images. I could print a ton of suns and all of that. Okay. Let me hit on one of those points that was asked earlier. Let's talk about AAC. Let's talk about how do you think about Glint and how people use it with AAC today. So let me chime in here and give you a little bit of a background. So, I started my story off with AAC. Glint by no means is a replacement for an AAC at all. We're not experts in that space. And we have a lot of respect for the companies that do a lot of work in this because there is a lot that goes behind the systems. What we excel at is building these sorts of supports that work in tandem with pre-existing devices. So that's where we see the most success. Oftentimes learners will use Glint at like before they transition to something like a high-tech device because it's a really good transition point when you're using low-tech or when you're using one of these QR codes or boards. You will notice we do have a lot of core boards in the public library, and we're still building them out. You're also able to make your own core boards yourself. Like I'm going to look at this one. I like this one. So we do have core boards that people use, and a lot of times it's like, hey, we're evaluating someone. We might want to use this or give them something in the interim while you wait for those devices. So think of us like a bridge or an overall environment.
So that's one
Giannis
of the
does
ones
awesome
that's bigger,
things.
Dylan. Yeah.
This is a bigger one.
But that one looks good.
It does look good. It does look
Where
good.
would it look weird?
Scott, can you open the cap? You want to make it an 8x8 cap? No, because it's
Yeah, soon.
8x5. Listen, you can always make it bigger with Glint Flow or manually. Like I can click on edit
Okay.
visuals and add more rows, But as from a design perspective, I get scared. I'm like, I don't want it to be mushed.
All right.
Because there's only so much real estate on the screen. So we have to make sure we're cognizant. But yeah, Brianna, amazing call. Like game changer for AAC evals. Really good for interim, but again, I caution, and I always mention this, like don't ever think of Glint as a replacement. That we're not designing it to be that replacement for AAC by any means. But you could use it as a scaffold and you can use it in addition. Like we mentioned, people tend to use Glint boards as great fringe boards because it's really built for that in-the-moment support, right? When a behavior comes up, when you need a board for a zoo or a topic, we kind of bridge that gap that eliminates that hard editing that you're making a new page. I used to work in a school. We did a Halloween activity, and I remember so vividly. I was sitting in the class. We all had these costumes, and like we had to kept stopping the class because everyone had a different AAC software. And the second thing was like not everyone had Frankenstein or the pumpkin on their device. And having to stop that class every 5 minutes and program it into a learner's device just really took away from our learning. So part of Glint's mission is like, we want you to be able to go ahead, share this link to a fringe board. I mean, better example, let's go to the summer one we made, right? I want to give people this vocab to use now. I share it, I'm copy pasting that link, and I'm programming it as a button into someone's AAC. And now they have that board, they have the board, like they can use it. You know, it's like it's there and we're not tediously programming. So that's one of like the main use cases that we see for this like, you know, continuation of AAC and bridging the gap. And another great way for those offliners and you don't have access to internet, the Glint mobile app works really well in tandem. So being able to flip back when you have these folders set with supports, you could use them offline really nicely with the other types of apps. So those are the best ways in which we see that in practice. So hopefully I answered some questions on that, on the AAC piece. I want to see if there's other topics. So we had alternative pencil we're going to talk about. We're going to chat about alternative pencils. We're going to chat about brown bear books. Oh, that's going to be so exciting. This is going to be a good topic. I'm going to give everyone like a 1 minute bio break because I want to see if I can get a meeting room here and take off my AirPods. So give me 1 minute for a bio break in the midway.
If anybody have any general questions for open access, for Jen, myself, or Emily, it's a good time to kind of ask right now. And what I'm doing on the home base is I'm kind of adding some of your questions that I've been seeing on the chat and putting it in the bottom of the home base in the questions and answer. You guys can refer to that later as well.
I'm trying to figure out how other people made the cells more square. Mine are all really long. Anybody tried and played around with this?
Was it because of
Okay,
how
we're
many?
back. I heard the question.
Why don't
I
mine
heard
look
the
like that?
question.
Why do mine look like all squinched down rectangles?
Good question. It has to do with screen size. Has to do with screen size. So the way it works right now is like Glenn will adapt to kind of the window size. So I mean, we will have updates to push that out, pretty much allowing you to like, hey, I only want square only. So on the printing end, that's really easy to modify. But on kind of like the visual play end, it's not as easy. I'm going to show you a feature that's like brand new. It's going to change that for you and make it so much easier.
Okay.
So you're in
I
the
will
right
believe
place.
you.
You'll believe me when you see it. Don't believe me yet.
Yeah. I got both. I got to see it to believe it.
Exactly. Okay. So we answered some of the AAC questions. And I'd like to talk about, let's see next. I wanted to talk about the question we had earlier about books and about adapting and creating multiple materials based on one thing. So, I mean, fun example, I might just start from, let's see, we'll start from here again, and we're going to go to the simple grid. So something I did want to show again, if you remember the plus button has some really cool examples. The first, you can add files or photos to anything. So if you have a curriculum or you have something that you want to make content based out of, you can upload that file. We take the context and make the visual support based on that. Hold on, I forgot. I came here to take off my AirPods. I didn't even take them off. Okay. Can everyone hear me fine? Okay. I was like, why did I come to the meeting room again?
The second thing is the ability to now import a board. If you have other boards from other platforms that you want to glintify, you can do that. Then you can do the Google image default again, which is real images, like we mentioned before. Experimental, but coming soon, sign language for those who are interested. So I want to do something about a book because we kind of touched on that. Now, Glint is pretty much trained on all these books. We went and found hundreds of different types of book contexts, and we trained on just content, so we can make a support to help you like work on a book or adapt it and all of that. A cool thing would be, yeah, simple grid. Let's do like the Hungry Caterpillar book, right? What you'll see a lot on our social media is our teachers and our parents making things for cool books. So I'll just do that. Anytime you reference a book, a movie, or TV show, mention the name and then mention what it is. So like the Hungry Caterpillar book or something else, and you can mention it. So in this case, it came up with my array of options. The way that you can go ahead and make another support based on this is the following. You click on the three dots on the left-hand side. This is your recents. Remember, all of my old things that I just worked on are here. Sunny day, our core board. These three dots allow you to do a couple things. One, I can rename a glint. Two, I can make a copy. Three, I can convert. You are able to convert a glint into another format. So if I'm like, wait, this is pretty cool. I want to turn this into a tic-tac-toe game. You can remix it and turn it into whatever you want, into another game. Right now, it's only supporting a couple of templates that have similar structures, but in the future, you can convert it to any other type of template. But right now, it supports like grid-like materials because we want to make sure that transition doesn't, lose things in transition. So certainly you could go in here and just convert them into anything you want. Like I'm going to say, hey, let's play bingo on this now for the Hungry Caterpillar. So converting really allows you to like take one topic of something you've already made or someone else has made, and then make a whole bunch of supports related to that. I don't know if we did bingo before, guys, but here.
Apple.
The activities have a lot more voice output. So they have like this interactive feedback that comes with it.
Leaf.
Yeah. So I don't know if we mentioned that before, but this is a big use case here. All right. What did I want to show? I wanted to touch a little bit about the manual editing because we spoke about this last time, but let me give another spiel on manual editing. There's a little bit more we can get into here. And just pardon me as I'm moving the zoom around here. Oh, question. The canvas is for designing icons. Is there a freestyle board I can add symbols outside the boundaries of the grid? Oh, so great question. Canvas for designing icons. Is there a freestyle board? I love that question. I'm about to show you another really cool thing. So you know what? We're going to go back to our simple grid because that's what we're going to use here. Okay. Our sunny day grid. Editing manually, and then we'll go to your question of how do I break the structure of a glint? And Jennifer's question, how do I make these squares? So editing visuals, we'll edit anything in our purview over here. Remember, you can always drag and drop, you can move it. I can click on something, change the symbol to something I want. I could upload my own images, combine images together, adding symbols, drawing on them, all these fun things, uploading my own and removing the background, all of that is possible. So I click on add symbols, I can upload something, or I don't know what I want to put here. Sun. Another sun, right? So that's all possible. We spoke a little bit about this, the speaking text, programming your own voice into buttons. Very helpful for this articulation piece where you can do that. And then videos. Can you upload a video into here? Yes, you can. Could you put in a YouTube link? Yes, you can, and you can clip it for that exact time. And then we touched on the Google images. Could you get a real photograph and pull it right in? You absolutely can, and have it into the board. And there's a background remover we spoke about. All right. Once you have the icons in place, is there a way to swap icons for real images in one step? Good question. Let's go to our friend Glint Flow. You can literally go into Glint Flow and say, make these all real images. Good question. Could you do it in one shot? The answer is yes.
Wow.
One shot. And let's just undo it because I like my symbols here. Okay. Going over some of those things again. Stylistic. You want to get stylish. We click on select. We can click on our cells here. We can change colors. A lot of people talked to us a little bit about, the access here for visual needs. It's really nice to be able to edit this and modify and change the opacity as needed, right? We spoke about fonts, which you can change, sizing, and all that, colors, fonts, families. We spoke about our accessibility features right over here. Our borders, our spacing, the different types of fonts again in high contrast with one click. Then we went through some of these examples. Some of these examples will actually look really good on a simple grid, so I'm going to do them with you. If this is the undo button, by the way. If I click images, hides the images and just gives me words. If I click on text, it hides the text. And if I click on English, it hides the English. Then we have the translate, which we can always translate things. Accessibility I did with you, and skin tones are here. Okay. Now for the moment of truth. I was talking all this talk about really getting unstructured and using things for yourself, and I'm about to show you how. The newest feature that is in beta that's going to come out very, very soon is something called the Glint Canvas. Notice this very shiny button right over here. Glint Canvas turns anything into an unstructured format. We made this grid, but I want specific changes. Glint is really good at giving you structure. It makes you things very quickly, but you're limited to what templates we have. But what if you want to go in and make something for yourself, or you want to edit the way it's being presented? You can click on Glint Canvas. Voila. You have your own private Canva ready for you right over here. What's so cool about this is that, look, Jen, it already became squares for me because it knew. But you really could edit this like you want. You know what I mean? It's yours. It's yours completely to get into, to move things, to ungroup things, separate them. And at any point, let's go back. And at any point, you could present it and have the speech out.
Speech.
شاطئ.
So this is for our creatives, the people who are not afraid to jump in there, build things for yourself, and really break the structure of Glint and go above and beyond what you're making. You can add symbols. I'm gonna add my Glint symbol. You can, add anything from Google again. That's so funny what comes up for Glint. You can draw on these, you can add your shapes, it's all yours to completely freeform what you're doing out here. So the cool thing about this is you also have multiple pages and you can keep adding more for blanks and having everything all together in one place. Export, you can export. To share, you can share. Yep, this is the latest and greatest. So you're going to see this also. This is kind of like in the beta form. It's getting better. Right now, only our Glint districts have access to this canvas, and it'll be released on a broader sense very soon. So we're still in the Glint fashion, getting a lot of feedback for what's working and what's not. And you'll see this develop based on real-time needs. People will tell us, hey, we would like the ability to do this or that. Comes from here. So that is how the canvas works. We did talk a little bit about before the library, 3 parts, our private library, our public, which has all the pre-mades, and then your organization library, which you can share things amongst each other. Is there an option for picture writing where if I type a sentence, pop each symbol above each word? There is an option for this, and it's possible in the canvas. It's just called image it. And the way that works is you can type words and get the symbols. We do advise like there's a lot of work around the literary aspect of that. So if you're working with learners on literacy, it's generally not advised to use that so much, but that is an option. So we're continuing to make systems that are in place that continue to support specialists and professionals in what they're doing. So it's good to check out. So next thing I wanted to mention, since we're in the advanced place, you can share folders. So what's really cool on my private Glints, if I click on Tony Stark, I'm going to gift everyone my folder for Tony Stark. So if you scan this, you can get all of my supports in one place. So really good use case. I made a folder and it's for we're going to an activity, we're going to a local coffee shop together. You can put a ton of Glints in one place like this and you can share like 10 in one or however many in one. All the learners can get the same things to bring with them. Really cool. Also goes to the app, so works the same. All right. Since we're in the advanced training, let's see, we have 15 minutes left. I'm gonna give Scott some time to shine a little bit, but I want to do a couple more small things because Jen asked us for the alternative pencil. Let's do that. Has anyone heard of an alternative pencil before? So the alternative pencil was designed for our learners who cannot hold traditional pencils. And this is based on, a really great center called UNC Chapel Hill, who we have a lot of respect for, and we listen to a lot of things they say. The alternative pencil was actually inspired by one of our close friends named Gretchen Hanser. She works at a school called I Hope in New York City. Scott and I try to get there anytime we can to spend some time with the learners, and they're a very great group. So we built this alternative pencil to allow learners to have switch accessible and eye gaze accessible ways to interact and spell. So it's really cool. It allows you to make words with your cursor apps,
Abs.
and it's that easy. So what's unique about this one is that there are a ton of settings here. We have a lot of settings for switch access. Right now, there's 2 switch scanning. And the hope is to make, this switch accessibility and eye gaze accessibility. When we bring on a school that has these needs, we generally do 1 session with them and they're up and running for that. So we have 1 dedicated session to make sure we're configuring things for you specifically. So this is just kind of a taste of how all that looks. But the alternative pencil is a really great topic to check out. And we did link a little learn more button to read more about it on the UNC Chapel Hill website to check out all the ways that people have been using these sorts of methods in the past. So this is a lot of cool resources. If you wanted to read more, it's all on Glint. Right over here. So I went to the alternative pencil and I clicked settings and that's where I saw all these. Okay. Now, let's see. The plus button we discussed. The Google images. I don't know if I showed that before, but you could start with the Google images to get them off the cuff. I'm gonna give Scott, do you have anything that you want to show? Because I'm gonna do my example after, and I want to end with that example. So do you have any like cool things you've heard of or tips that you want to share?
Um,
Scott?
yeah, 1 second. Hey, everyone. Okay, so I guess some cool tips. One example is like we see new examples all the time. Someone was just using the spinner for like they were choosing like, what activity were they going to do in the classroom that day. So they just told Glenn, "Hey, can you make me a spinner of these 5 different activities?" And they spun it, and now the students they got to be able to just spin it and have a fully interactive system. So it's like new ways that people are always like using these glints. For me, I like to paste in allrecipes.com when I'm like making chicken or something and I don't want to read all the ads on the recipe website to figure out what to do. I will just have Glint distill the recipe for me and it'll tell me like what are the steps and just put that in. So there's like a lot of different use cases. I really like whether you're a transition and you're learning how to like use a coffee machine and you might want a task analysis. if you're like in that setting, or if you're like a younger student, you need a social story for how to interact. I think Dylan, you covered a lot of various features, so I like that. Touching upon also back in the canvas, there's a few hidden things he didn't show. We do have like a cool repeat tool. You want to go to the canvas for a second? Yeah. Okay, so click on any of these items, Dylan. So you'll notice this is a popular request. I know someone requested squares. On the top and in the left toolbar, you can actually see like the green box, and that shows you those dimensions. So if you're trying to make a bunch of squares that are 2 inches by 2 inches in the canvas mode, you can just double click on those numbers and you will automatically be able to like swap those out. So if you click the 2 inches, click on the number, Dylan. That's brand new. Double click it. You can just type in whatever number, and then Dylan, click that box again and click on the repeat tool in the top. And let's show people how the repeat works. Yeah, so once you're in that mode, now just move the cursor a little bit lower, and I can just make a bunch of squares that are designed. So this is version 2 of the Canvas beta. Version 3 of the Canvas, you can create your own templates. And now if you have like your own desired structure where you have like sentences or rows, Glint will once you make your template, you save it. And now that becomes like one of our many templates for you in your personal library. And you can have it automatically fill in places, names, activities, whatever you're trying to do. So that's a really exciting feature in the canvas. Also on the canvas, if you don't want this background, Dylan, just click on like Clint Boyer on the right side. Can you drag him in? I know we didn't touch it. Yeah, and then move that down a little bit. Just pay attention in the canvas. On the right hand side, there's a ton of settings. So we can go to symbol only, boxed only. And there's a lot of like hidden gems in Glint. So the idea behind like these hidden gems, the average person wants it simple, but sometimes people want like those extra capabilities. So if you ever want to add a YouTube video to a Glint, you just click edit visuals and you just select it and you will see if you think that's where it should be, it's probably there. And if it's not there, press the question mark. That's how we like to think of Glint.
Love it. Love it. Thanks for chiming in, Scott.
Of course.
Thanks for giving us some nice creative flowing juice. So I did want to say I had a nice parting gift for everyone. So I'm actually going to do what Scott mentioned as an example. So we're going to go to this website, allrecipes.com. Okay. And since it's Memorial Day weekend, I want everyone to, take it easy because I know everyone is busy. You have a lot happening. So let's see if we can make a margarita for everyone. Maybe I want everyone to have a nice frozen margarita this weekend for themselves. So this is going to be a gift that you can send to any loved one at home to let them know that this is what you're hoping for it to get this Memorial Day weekend when you're relaxing. If you don't drink alcohol, it could be a virgin margarita. Just make sure you are taking your relaxing time because you're so busy and you do such great work. So we're going to go back to Glint. I'm going to choose the recipes template. I'm going to click it and just put the link in for my all recipes margarita. I'll say, let's give it 5 lines, and that's all I want. I just want a recipe based on this. It's going to ask me the question. I'll say, use my prompt as is. And I'm going to have my margarita recipe ready for everybody. So give me 1 sec to compose that for you. And it's good. I like it, but I actually want some more. I want some more numbers in here. Add some measurements. I'm going to add some measurements with Glint, just so you know how much to make and the proportions needed. So it's going to pull from all recipes and actually give you the exact ones that you want. So this is my gift to everyone here. I want you to take this home, send this to a loved one or a family member or friend and say, hey, I'm looking for one of these this weekend. So this is the gift for you to take. But anyways, this brings us to a very nice close. I want to just leave some extra time at the end for everyone to ask questions, talk about things, open conversation. As a reminder, to get in touch with us, the best way is right here. Let me move things. So we had that question initially. How do you get in touch? How do I get Glint? All you got to do is scan this QR code, schedule a meeting with us, or shoot us an email. The best thing is just like getting in touch with our team, and you will be taken care of. Generally takes one call, and we know where where to route you and how to take care. So that is the best thing.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dylan and Scott. It gets better and better each time. I was trying to see how is he going to top the first session, and he just kind of blew my mind with all these tips and tricks and all the features that I didn't even know you could do with Glint. It's amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Um,
thank you both for having me. I really appreciate the program and such a great mission. So,
Awesome. Before we head out today, we're just going to do a quick intentional close, and Jenna is going to drop the feedback in the chat. So please take a moment to just really fill it out. We always take your feedbacks and hear what you say and kind of adjust our training accordingly. But we started out the morning of the session kind of talking about where we are about in terms of summer. And so as we wrap up for the day and as you're preparing for summer, think about what's one idea you want to try from this session, one shift in how you think about supporting students, and one thing worth kind of carrying forward from kind of our time together. And feel free to unmute or share in the chat. Rudy said, I played with adding video of sign language. Yeah, I'm really excited about that features. So yeah, share with us what is it that really stuck with you today, and if you came to both session, how does it kind of feel for you now that you feel like you can really do it?
I could share a little.
Thanks, Rudy.
So I'm an OT by trade. So I get excited about like the task analysis breakdown type stuff. Um, and then I get these funny looks when I present it to the speech therapists. And I'm like, it's not replacing communication. It's not, and I'm used to those territorial turfs. I get that with PT. But I'm all of I like the spirit of it is like this, why be gatekeepers? It's so easy to share and put out there and just get your foot in the door. There's so much resistance to these. I don't know how to program, a communication system, or it didn't work this time, or and kids are evolving and changing so often. So it's just like you said, like a nice bridge. Get your foot in the door, play with it, try it. And once people are comfortable with it, they have that like roadmap, and then it's like it can lead to those more complex communication systems. So anyways, that's my takeaway. Awesome tool.
Thanks, Rudy, for sharing. That was fantastic. And I love that you reiterate the idea that, Dylan was talking about. It's a bridge. A lot of the different companies have different expertise in the different spaces they do. And this is a bridge. This is one tool you do use it in conjunction because all of it is to support kiddos, right? That's our main goal. All the practitioner, all the educator, all the parents, all the families. That's what we just want to do. Give kids lots of different ways to access.
Mhm.
And let's see. Great. Anyway, thank you again, everybody. We're kind of 2 minutes before our closing. Dylan, if you wouldn't do the next two slides, the end of training feedback, I appreciate it. If you guys could give a quick scan for the QR code, and then we're finished after you do that. And then Dylan, myself, Jen, and the open access team, and possibly Scott will hang out for a few minutes afterward. If you guys have any specific questions you want to chat about, if you want to spend the rest of the time praising these two wonderful human beings, all of that and above. And thank you everybody for attending. We really, really appreciate you guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.